Now this spring, this deck was cleaned and painted, but as you can see, it gets pretty dirty over the season. Is there something you ought to do now to your deck, Jeff?
Now's the time to go and look it over close. Make sure it's good and clean. You can either take a pressure washer and clean it, or you can take some of your commercial deck washes and clean it, and then put a good quality sealer on, like Thompson's Water Seal, Wood Life. There's Olympic, everybody has them out there.
See, everybody wants these decks to be maintenance free, but they're really not, are they?
No, decks are a lot of work. And if you take care of them properly, they're going to be a lot of work.
Okay.
A lot of your commercial cleaners are mainly just bleach. So you can clean it with household bleach. But what you want to be careful, if you get a lot of plants around your deck, you don't want this stuff splattered on those plants or you're liable to kill them. And the same with your deck preservatives. And then if you want to put color in your deck and not just preserve it, then make sure you get a stain that's for a deck, because a stain that you put on your siding isn't going to hold up with you walking back and forth across it.
Okay.
And
I was going to ask you about that wood preservative. Is that good for outdoor decks?
yes, that's just a clear wood preservative, and that's been around for years and years and years, and it's a good product. And then to put those down, you can either use a sprayer like this and spray them on. Myself, I like to take a roller, and you can get a long handle and put on the roller so you aren't bending over to do it. And then you can take a smaller roller like this and do your banisters and all your small parts. And then in your corners, put it on with a brush. And you really want to put it on good and heavy and let it soak in. And if you can get under your deck like you can this one, it isn't a bad idea to do the bottom side too.
You need to do this in the fall or once a year, anytime?
I would recommend at least once a year. And getting this late in the fall, make sure that you give it enough time to dry, that it isn't raining on it right away, and you want a couple good days of clear weather after you put it on.
This is where your driveway meets your garage. This is major crackage you need to work on, huh?
Yes, this one here is wide open, and you can see you got some hairline cracks. The problem with leaving these cracks exposed like that is water gets in them during the winter and freezes, and when it freezes, it expands, and then it makes the crack worse. And water can get under the cement slab, freeze and thaw, and move it up and down. Yeah. So what you want to do is take either sand like this, because when you put the crack filler in, you don't want to put a lot of expensive crack filler in. Either take sand like that.
That's a deep crack, isn't it?
Yeah, and fill the crack up to where about 3/4 of an inch, or you can take this foam and put it in there, which we need a little wider one for this, is a backing. And then a really good product is this SL1. And you just put that in a caulking gun. This stuff stays really elastic. And you can go out in the middle of winter when it's way below zero. This stuff will be as rubbery as when it's 90 degrees out.
Real flexible always.
Real flexible, and it lasts almost forever. A couple products that everybody sells, and it's a lot cheaper than the SL1, are these crack fillers, but they don't last. They end up drying up, cracking, and coming out. And you're just throwing your money away. So you might as well start with a better one, and then it'll last longer. And then if you got pits, like these here, where moisture's got under there, and pop that concrete, then you can take this all-purpose concrete resurfacer, and if you really got a bad pitted driveway, you can put that on, refinish that so it looks nice and smooth and you don't have water setting in it, and that there actually is stronger than the concrete you're putting it on. First thing you want to do this time of year is people are already using their furnaces. So go down and check it over good. Check this vent pipe. Make sure it's good and solid, no rust in it, no holes in it, because that's where the carbon monoxide is going to come from. So make sure all that's good and solid and connected. And then also the vent pipe off your water heater while you're doing it. There's one from your water heater also. Make sure all that's intact and good and solid so you don't get any carbon monoxide in your house. Then the next thing is, if you've got a humidifier on your furnace, which this one does, it's time to clean that humidifier plate. Just pull it out, and you can see the difference between a new.
Look at that.
And that's normal. That's all the calcium and everything in the water. There's nothing wrong with it.
Okay, that's about a year. That's a year old.
So it's time to replace that, and that you should do at least once a year. And then this one here has a really good heavy furnace filter that's pleated. Those will normally last about 3 months, depending on how much you use the furnace with air conditioning and stuff like that.
That's still pretty clean.
Yeah,
isn't it?
that one's still pretty clean. Now, a lot of furnaces just have a standard furnace filter like that, which you can see my hand through it. A lot of the dirt goes through that. Then there's a little bit better one that is pleated. That picks up more dirt. And then the best one is actually this 3M one, which we've had people buy this one. This one runs right around $15, $16. decide that, man, that's a lot of money for a furnace filter that only lasts 3 months, come and buy the cheaper one, which is $3 or $4. Their wife sends them back to the store within a week, and they get the 3M because it does pick up a lot more. Another question we always have is, what way do I put it in? There's an arrow on them. And on this furnace here, you want to put the arrow in any furnace towards the furnace itself. What happens is the cool air comes down this pipe here, goes across into the furnace, is heated up, and then back into the house. So you want the airflow to go through this filter that way. And the reason for that is, you see the wire mesh on here? That's to protect it so that blower motor doesn't suck that filter material out of there, end up in the blower, and cause a fire. So that's the reason that's on there, and that's why they have the arrows. So always remember, the arrow goes towards the furnace itself.